Hey everyone, I'm MJ and welcome to my channel. Today I would like to talk about friendships, socializing, interacting with others, whatever you want to call it. As an autistic person, social interactions are really hard. I look back over different stages of my life and it has always been really difficult for me. People who would class me as their friend now probably don't realize how difficult it is for me because I mask and I mimic and I use like a learned script in my mind on how to interact with people, especially people who I see regularly. I present the same way every time I see them, probably. I kind of want to delve into my life at different stages and explain how I perceived interacting with others. I have a memory of when I was in nursery. It's a hard age to remember. I was about 4, and I remember being in nursery playing with a doll's house, and another kid wanted to come and play with the dollhouse. They were then in my space. I didn't want to play with them and I didn't want to play alongside them. I wanted my own space. And I remember a teacher kind of encouraging us to play together. And for me, in my mind, that felt really strange because I was in my own little world playing with this dollhouse, interacting the way I wanted to. I didn't know how to involve another human into that interaction. It was weird. I don't remember much of it, but that was very familiar to me. And then I remember in school we had to sit beside the same person every day, which was good for my routine. I liked the fact that I knew who I was sitting next to every day. But when that child would start to interact with me, I didn't really know how to respond. I don't know. When someone wanted to spend time with me, I didn't really understand why. And then I guess I got to about the age of 12. I was always really super shy, always hung around with my mum. And my mum basically forced me to go and mix with some other kids and said, it's time for you to make some friends. And I was like, what? I don't know how to do that. So yeah, but anyway, I met this girl. I don't know how the situation arose, but I went to her house. I must have met her a few times to think that was okay. But she had a cat, and I just instantly started playing with the cat. I felt like playing with the cat was really easy. And then actually the conversation became really easy because we just spoke about the cat. I'm not like a massive cat person, but I was happy to talk about how cute this cat was and how fun it was to play with. And she interacted with me and she seemed to really like me and engage with me really well. So I was like, hey, wow, this is working. Whatever I'm doing is working. But then the next time I saw this girl, I didn't have a clue what to say to her. So yeah, back to square one again of not knowing the rule book. As I went into high school was a huge thing for me to navigate. The transition of going from primary where everyone hated me and I was always rejected and people would use the R word on me and call me stupid and all sorts of weird names that I didn't really feel fitted me, but I wasn't liked. So going to high school, I kind of said to myself, right, I need to really try hard to make friends. I remember just navigating into this group of individuals. I don't know how that happened, but I would spend time with them. I always hung around with them. And then one day, breaks my heart thinking back at this, but a girl presented me with a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper was basically like a petition that was signed by all of this group of friends. Everyone's names was on it, and basically at the top of the sheet it said, put your name on this list if you don't want him to hang out with us anymore. Eek. Okay, why didn't you just tell me? I don't know why you had to write it down on a piece of paper. It seems really cruel. But I had to stop hanging out with them. I didn't know what I did wrong. I didn't really get it. But they didn't want to be friends with me anymore, and I had to just leave that group of people. And then I found twin friends, which were really lovely and they were my friends and I liked hanging out with them. It was a wee bit easy. But then they made friends with this other girl and I suddenly was pushed out of that friendship group and I didn't quite understand what was going on, but I guess they could only be friends with one person at a time. I didn't understand the rules. I didn't understand how to be friends with this new girl because I didn't know her and I didn't know how to interact with her. But yeah, so the twins decided they didn't want to be my friend anymore. And I had to navigate all over again. And then the rest of high school was really hard. Like, I didn't fit into any group. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to make myself liked by anyone. It was unwritten territory, I guess, with knowing how to interact with people. After school, I decided that I was going to go to university and I went to England for university. When I moved to Birmingham, I decided I was going to recreate who I was. I had learned so much from different programs I had watched and learned how to navigate social situations by basically watching how they do it on TV. I masked massively when I went to Birmingham and just became what I considered to be a really popular, really extroverted type of fun person. That worked well enough with me, but I think I navigated towards a group of friends who were maybe all quite neurodivergent, so that's probably why it worked. And I had the best group of friends. We would hang out all the time. And I do feel like we're all the outcasts in one big group. So, you know, when you all have the outcasts, everyone feels like they've got a place in that kind of group. But then one day I wasn't very well. And I basically spent some time in hospital. And when I came out of hospital, I was a totally different person. I couldn't really relate to the person that I had been up until that point. I realised how exhausting it had been. And I had no energy to, I guess, deliver to the expectation that I had put on myself. I decided to move back to Scotland. I tried really hard to maintain those friendships, but distance make it really, really, really tricky. And I look at how I've formed friendships since then. I've got people who I've known for like 20 years, and that's easy. It's like easy to do friendships with people who've known you forever. You can be a bit more yourself and relaxed. But then when it comes to meeting new people, I haven't got a clue. I go to church, and at the moment I'm currently between churches and haven't really found a church that I want to fit into yet. So I'm visiting a lot of different churches. I hate that because it means before the service starts and after the service finishes, there's that lingering period where everyone wants to socialise. So I've learned my routine is I take a flask of a hot drink in with me. I've got something to hold in my hands. It's really easy to hold something, focus on what's in my hand. I can look at it constantly. You know, when you're having conversations, you don't have to give as much eye contact if you're constantly looking at what's in your hand. And then as soon as the service is finished, I'm out of there. Like, I'm not one to stick around and chat. I don't know how to do that. I haven't learned how to do that enough with new people. I can only do that surface level stuff with people who I'm familiar with or people who have known me for a while. But it does make me making friends is really tricky. I don't know how people do it. I'm really great on one-to-one situations. So I have a couple of friends who I meet up with one-to-one and I can do that. But as soon as the group gets bigger, I don't know how to engage. I don't know when to engage. While I'm listening, I'm also checking my eye contact. I'm checking my body language. I'm checking, like, do I look like I'm interested? I'm scanning the room because sometimes there's lots of things that are distracting to me. So it's really hard to listen because there's a lot else going on inside my mind under the surface. But yeah, even working with people, like I work supply, so I'm constantly in a different environment if I'm working different places all the time, which is really hard because I don't know how to interact with staff. A lot of the time I'll go into my car and I'll just sit, have my lunch break in my car because it's easier than figuring out what script I need to use. I guess this is pretty common, relatable. I don't know if you get that. then please tell me. I think I'm very good at masking, so people who know me wouldn't assume this is how hard it is for me. That just shows you I mask with literally everyone. I present this front of being someone who's, I guess, bubbly, comfortable in your company, engaging. It's all lies. Like, I struggle with all of these parts. Yeah, even speaking to this camera is hard for me because I'm aware that there's people watching this and I'm not interacting with you, but I am interacting with you, even though you're not talking back to me. So I don't know how it's landing. It's basically how all my conversations feel. And I am giving, space within a conversation with people to speak. I usually say random stuff that doesn't kind of fit with the flow of the conversation. And then I get some weird looks, or I get people who are like, I'm going to just go and chat to that person. Really casually, but it's a rejection at the end of the day. And I do that to people. I reject them in conversation because I just don't know where to go with it. How do you go from like surface level chit chat to getting deeper with someone without like asking them really inappropriate questions straight off the bat? It's hard. But yeah, so being autistic means it's hard to navigate friendships, interactions with strangers, colleagues, neighbours, even people in the supermarket. Like, people at the checkout say, hey, how's your day going? How are you? Or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. Great, thank you. I never reciprocate the question because I just forget. But also, I don't care. You're not in my life. I'm not interacting. I'm literally having a 10-second interaction with you while I pay for my groceries or whatever. I'm probably never going to see you again. So there's no point in me engaging with you. But I wish I remembered to be like, hey, I'm good. How are you? Like, to actually have that normal interaction with people. So yeah, that's me today. Rambled a lot about making friendships and how I've always found it hard. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed listening to my rambles. Thanks very much. Have a good day.